2 John, verse 5 and 6. Now I ask you, lady, not as though I were writing to you a new commandment, but the one that we have had from the beginning, that we love one another. And this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, just as you have heard from the beginning, that you should walk in it. John has just engaged us in a loop. He mentions a new commandment, which is not really new at all, but one that we have had from the beginning, he says. And that commandment is that we love one another. Jesus issued that new old commandment when he said, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And John goes on in verse 6, "This is love, that we walk according to his commandment. This is the commandment, just as you have heard from the beginning, that you should walk in it." This is love, that we obey the commandment. The commandment is to love, and we love by obeying the commandment. You see the loop? Love means walking in the commandment, and his commandment is to love. I'm not complaining, not accusing John of faulty logic. It's a good loop to be in. We should want to obey our Lord, and we should want to love one another. What does it mean to love? We have the misconception in these days that love is an emotion that just comes and goes, like happiness or sadness or depression. Love is something that you just fall into, like an open manhole cover in the sidewalk. You can't help it. It just happens or it doesn't happen. But that's not the biblical conception of love. Love is not an emotion. It is an act of the will. It is an act of commitment. You decide to love. You commit to love, whether you feel like it or not, because that's what the Lord commanded. What does that kind of love look like? Here it is. Love is patient. Love is kind and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. Love does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own, is not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. This love looks like Jesus, doesn't it?